Probably get started here in a minute or so.
All right. Um, Hi, my name is Corey Parnell, and I think we've started the recording and we're all set to go. Just want to thank everyone for taking time out to join this webinar. Hopefully that you'll be able to get some good information out of there or walk away with some clarity. So I'm excited. My name is Corey Parnell. I'm CEO of BGM, and I'm going to be the facilitator of this webinar. And I'm excited. The two individuals that we'll be speaking with is one is my partner, Brian Stubbe. He's our outsourcing practice leader. Brian leads the outsourced accounting group at BGM. He's really a results-driven business leader over the last 20 years of experience in the accounting and technology business functions. He's passionate about leading and contributing to the teams whose mission is to improve business performance, achieve regulatory compliance, and lower business risk, as well as helping a lot of our clients improve their accounting system and process by leveraging technology and providing better information to owners and operators, so that they're really validating the past, but as well as looking at the future. And our other guest is Will Lopez. Again, very excited. Will's got a great background. Used to be a former accountant, so happy for him to be on the other side. He's a chief ambassador at Gusto. He's dedicated his career to really helping accountants and clients support small business and really help them deal with a very complex area of human resource and payroll. Even though it might seem very simple in the world that we're currently living in, it's become much more complex. Before Gusto, Will founded AdvisorFi, which was a modern accounting firm which highly leveraged the recent digital transformation of accountancy and innovative apps to the benefit of their clients. So welcome both Will and Brian, and I'm going to kick this off kind of with our first question that I have is, you know, just maybe start with you, Will. What is the importance of figuring out the human resource and payroll in the current environment? And I think it's really changed in the last 5 years.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Well, thanks for having me on. Thanks for everyone attending. I'm excited. The next hour is going to be pretty powerful. But, I quite honestly, I think we could all agree that there's been many shifts in the economic landscape that has impacted SMBs, businesses, employees. All of you here today are feeling it. And at Gusto, we have a team of economists that kind of study market trends to understand and decode how they'll affect SMBs today and into the future, and what SMBs and their accountants like BGM kind of should do together. So, for example, one of the important things that have really surfaced as a result of COVID is retaining team members, attracting team members, things of that sort. Our head economist, Liz Wilkie, she kind of put it well. She said, we're in a forever labor shortage, which means, and what does that mean numerically? Well, there are now 1.6 job openings per unemployed person in the US. Plus, nearly 4 million Americans turn 65 years old every year, meaning more workers are retiring. So, as businesses and kind of the importance of people in HR and getting things right and supporting a team is because we have some pretty forceful outside pressure, landing on the backs of small businesses. And I know there's an old saying that says, small businesses are the backbone of the economy. I'll be the first to say I disagree. They're not the backbone. They are the economy. So, as we continue to have our own small business, grow it, thinking about your team, thinking about the importance of taking care of your team and staying compliant is really key especially in the hybrid remote work. So, at Gusto, we're seeing that more employers, more employees are also seeking that flexibility of hybrid plus remote. Our same economist team, for example, in the last 3 years, they've seen a trend that companies are either completely remote now, 31, like a third of them are, or hybrid, which is about half of the folks that we were looking at. And then only less than 43% of companies that we see are fully in office before the pandemic and still are to date. So, thinking about hybrid work, thinking about compliance, or at least payroll was originally thought as majority of it compliance, but now there's such a people-centric focus around that, and the benefits of what you can do using better technology to support team members both near you and far away, really has become top of mind. It still is.
Yeah, Brian, do
I,
you have any thoughts?
yeah, I think we work with a lot of business owners and small business owners, they have a lot to deal with, right? And HR is coming more to the forefront based on the challenges Will just laid out. But I can tell you, I'm trying to think the last time they communicated, a business owner communicated they love doing payroll and HR. And oh, that's right, they've never said that to me. So it's kind of one of those functions where they have to deal with it, but all these other challenges are bringing them more into the fold. The good news is that we live in a time where these payroll technology solutions, such as Gusto, at a cost-effective way, you can manage them a lot easier than in the past.
Mm.
And some of those challenges with, what Will laid out for talent shortages, I always say, systems don't run companies. It's one of my favorite quotes, by the way. Systems don't run companies, people do. I'll
Love
say
that.
it again. Systems don't run companies, people do. And every small business in their business planning, I would submit, should have some type of yearly goal to continue to build a learning culture, because that'll bring in the best talent. People want to grow when they're working for a business, any type of business. Those are the people that are typically have a good roadmap for being successful. So those are the things that I come to mind when managing the practice here and how we see small business owners view HR and payroll.
Yeah,
I
it's
love.
interesting.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say it's interesting that what you guys are talking about, and I'll say our organization, just because of growth, that our payroll or our HR group is growing to 3 people, and our HR director works specifically with operations because it's so interwoven on how they play. Which kind of leads me into my next question, is really how do you really find that, you might start out with the payroll solution, but that partner that can help on the HR side. What is kind of the process you should be going through in the questions asked? Will?
Okay. Yeah. To your point, as far as great solutions, systems don't run companies, people do, Brian. I mean, I couldn't agree more, right? Which is why with all the shifts that are going on in the world while running a business, it's important to have that right HR plus payroll support plus accountant support, because that's going to help you who are here today really kind of provide or receive that strategic, that proactive guidance, that proactive compliance that you're looking for to really navigate through all of this. I think Gusto's perspective on, thinking about an incredible payroll platform, I think the key benefits are just this integration of services and processes and good technology. When you think about payroll in the past sense, or many platforms kind of look at payroll like this, where it's about getting the to-dos done around payroll, making sure that you're processing it, making sure that your team is getting a paycheck, ensuring that they actually have access to their payroll stubs, staying compliant both federally and in the state. We've really broadened our thinking around this. And Gusto takes the position, and that's why we call ourselves the people platform, is, to your point, people run businesses, not systems. So what do team members need in order to really flourish at a company? What makes a good employer on a first impression or its last impression? What kind of solution do we have in front of us that will make me look like a great employer all throughout my team's life cycle, from the moment they joined to the moment they leave? And so when you're thinking about solutions, think about not just the compliance side, which of course is why we've partnered with BGM, but also what does that solution give me in addition to the compliance that can really help me become a great employer, look at my team really, really well. So for example, give you an example, like a customer example. There's a company called New Apprenticeship, and they're an education startup with a mission to kind of bridge that tech talent gap. And so through partnerships or through their employer partnerships, they kind of trained and mentored a diverse group of individuals and their talent from underserved communities to become skilled tech professionals, kind of creating a more inclusive tech industry. They were using a different payroll solution for payroll, but they were limited to only being able to process payroll, right? So that brought them to Gusto in many senses. And then through that, they were able to not only pay their team accurately, compliantly, and on time, but they were also able to offer 401k seamlessly, health and dental insurance seamlessly, and all the deductions automatically were taken care of within the system. So as you see, it's a lot more than just processing payroll. It's taking care of a team, ensuring that they and their families are taken care of, and the community around them are being taken care of. And so as a small team, that company, having payroll, benefits, HR tools on Gusto, made it easy for them to get one staff member to handle everything on the people side, which is pretty impressive nowadays.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, Brian?
the question, Corey, with regard to the way that we look at it, Gusto, which has been a great partner for us, I really, three things come to mind. Really, they're an innovative company. Their platform is really easy to use. And then the third thing is integration. In an innovative company, there always seems to be some types of improvements they make. And I can say, without a doubt, the other players in the payroll industry, they seem to, at least the bigger ones, lack some of that sharp, innovative types of things to incorporate and always continue to improve. That's number one. Number two is the ease of use. We've gotten great feedback from clients that have used the platform, and not only the administrators that are doing the payroll, but also the end users. That includes onboarding. They have a really process-driven, simple self-help type of thing to implement. And then lastly, again, integration is key. I always say, one of the biggest things to get over in small businesses to get that transaction capture and coding automated. I would say that if you have a great technology solution, it doesn't count unless it's integrated with the core accounting system, because that's what everybody's reporting on. So again, it doesn't count. I always say great technology, but if it doesn't integrate to our back end, really doesn't count, because we're not going to get timely information. And Gusto has all three of those things in spades. So that's kind of how we made our decision with our preferred platform with Gusto.
That's awesome.
Yeah, one thing I kind of want to circle back on is, the world that we live in is really changed. And I think about our organization. One of the areas of practice is the CPA firm, that there is the fewer people coming into the profession, more people leaving the public accounting arena. So over the last 3-4 years now, we've really found that we're hiring talent wherever the talent is. But again, and there's complexity around that. Things that are frustrating for me as CEO is all of a sudden you find out that your PTO rules in Minnesota are different than Colorado, which is different than New York, which is different than California. So maybe, Will, can you just talk about, how do you help companies through all these different logistics of hiring talent throughout the U.S.?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, when you think about what's going on here, more SMBs are looking beyond even the US borders to find the right talent. And so, for example, 3/4 of SMBs said that they plan to increase their even at Gusto, their international employee headcount. 50, like half of them said that they plan to increase both international and US headcount over the next 1 to 3 years. And so Gusto has created a solution that allows you to easily onboard, pay, and kind of take care of your team. So example, let's say you're in Colorado like I am, and you want to hire a team member in California or Florida or New York or wherever across the state lines. And let's say it's a new job. Gusto has all the front end solutions of a job posting board that you can list your job there, gather applicants who are interested in your job despite location in the US, internalize that within Gusto, work through those candidates, pick the right candidate right through Gusto, and make them a job offer right through Gusto, and then onboard them, let them complete their W-4s, their I-9s, and all that kind of information. And so when you think about the world of a small business, small businesses do generally in the past did not have a lot of the what I would call like the Fortune 500, Fortune 1000 onboarding experience. Now, a lot of those tools, which is what Gusto has been created to do, have come down to small businesses. Now you can look like an incredible employer on the front end and in the middle and at the end and hire any talent across state lines. So Gusto itself will take care of all the compliance for you automatically. So file all your federal payroll tax forms, all the state filing tax forms for that employee in that state, all the way down to city municipal. And so you can basically stay out of that compliance hot water all out automatically through Gusto, and then work with BGM to ensure that all that real-time data is integrated with your general ledger and your bookkeeping, so that way they can give you guidance and advice. So for me, it's three things. One, a great onboarding experience to bring new team members on. Gusto has that. One is staying compliant in that state in which the employee's been hired in. Gusto can take care of you with that. And then the third thing is really creating a lasting impression for that employee all throughout the company, or all throughout their journey with their company, with your company. So for me, I think those three are really key when you're thinking about, bringing on new team members.
Yeah, I think just to add, Will, we just recently onboarded a client with 100 employees in 7 different locations, and they were quite pleased with the reach of the platform, the onboarding project.
Right.
And again, we'll get into some of the integration capabilities, but if you can imagine 7 different locations, wouldn't it be great to break out payroll by the locations? Prior to the implementation, they didn't do that just because of the complexity.
Right.
And the manual labor that it would take to do that, as well as some functionality. So it was just hitting a home run with just implementing your solution compared to what they were used to.
Right. Exactly. And there's a lot of compliance on this, like onboarding new team members thing, right? And we're all aware of it. And there's actually a lot of, I remember my first job and being kind of like overwhelmed by going into an office, filling out a pile of paperwork, right? And then turning that in, like, I hope I did that right. And that front experience, well, all of that has been automated through Gusto, and you can really look fairly savvy as a small business.
Yeah. And this particular client that I was telling you about, they were in California, Tennessee. So
yeah,
all across the US.
Yeah. Yeah. That kind of leads into, how do, some examples of how you tailor to a specific business need. How do you do that? And maybe give some examples.
Yeah, Brian, do you want to kick us off there?
Well, I think it goes back to, what we see initially when we get introduced to small businesses. They're managing a payroll under one big bucket, and, gross payroll in general for the whole company, without breaking that up into smaller buckets. So we're a firm believer on the income statement to break it up into, at least kind of started with a standard of, there should be people, whoever's delivering the product, cost of sales, payroll bucket. Down below, after gross profit, overhead expenses should be broken out in general administrative, sales and marketing, and operations, non-direct labor for delivering your product, or R&D. And the reason for that is just to get some historical benefit for trend analysis, and then ratio analysis in terms of, well, if I want this profit, here's kind of some of the levers I can move. You can think of it that way, as well as think of it strategically on an annual basis. If there's different initiatives going on, you can explain the story. It's always about explaining some type of story in the financials.
Yeah.
Very hard to explain a story when you have $1 million on a single income statement line for gross payroll.
Yeah, that's
So
absolutely.
that's the biggest thing. And then if there's anything else with regard to, maybe it's a business unit, it could be location, tracking costs, whatever that may be, another dimension, so to speak, may be valuable as well to kind of, again, breaking things into smaller pieces. One thing I've learned over the last 20 years is it's harder to solve problems when you're looking at it like this. If you can break it into smaller pieces, it's a little bit easier to manage and take a good look at what things that we could do to manage this better. So I guess in conclusion there, I think to add on to that, getting that granularity reporting leads into the integration that Gusto can do. We're quite pleased with the ability to do that, and all automated. We've done that for many different clients, slicing and dicing, depending upon the business need, were their payroll goals. So literally there's no manual recording of payroll. Once it's set up, the master files, all that integration from Gusto to whatever your back end is. Typically it's QuickBooks Online for us. It's simply sync and everything just flows over. And to me, that's being in the industry this long. It's like we should be appreciative that the technology exists, again, at a price point that's just, in my estimation, is just like crazy good.
Yeah, I would say, on my side, when you're thinking about business life and running a practice, I believe that people are not easily defined, right? We're complex individuals, and so are businesses. Every business has unique needs. And so when you're thinking about, platform of choosing, you should look into whether or not that platform can be tailored to your specific needs. So at Gusto, we have, three specific plans that you can choose from, whether you're small and starting out small and aren't going to really grow fast. We have a solution that helps you kind of streamline all those automatic payroll features and benefit integrations as you continue to grow. Gusto has solutions to help provide that more comprehensive payroll benefits, HR support to help your employees and help you build a great place to work, whether they're in person or remotely. Or if you're really, really growing and growing with Gusto and growing with BGM, then you have that scalable payroll and benefits expert, HR expert on our side. You have priority support on our side. You have dedicated success liaisons to meet the kind of complex needs of your growing business. So that's how we like to tailor those plans across the entire business. I'll give you a simple example. One of our own customers, Rise Marketing, which is a digital marketing agency based in Philadelphia. They got all the information they needed to register with states through Gusto's website or through Gusto's platform. So for them, they weren't growing. They were on a specific plan. They've been with Gusto for a while, and then immediately they started growing and said, "Oh, we need to find talent wherever we can find it, but there's some complexities around finding talent across state lines." And so they turned to Gusto, and they got a lot of that taken care of. And when they need help with the ins and outs of, let's say, that state tax registration and filing to get that team member onboarded, they turn to Gusto support team for that peace of mind to kind of get that work done. So, you know, finding individual unique needs through Gusto is absolutely feasible, and Gusto goes beyond just that state tax registration example to really help support Rise Marketing in Philadelphia at the local level. So, Philadelphia, for example, just revamped their entire employer system and required businesses to re-register and get new employer IDs. Getting it in the first place is a lot of work. Redoing it again, not fun, right? And so Gusto was actually the first company to proactively flag this change to our customer, and then made all the adjustments within the deadline to ensure that they didn't miss that compliance deadline. So, that's how Gusto can really meet your needs, whether it's, in certain categories throughout your life cycle as a company, as you're growing or scaling, or if you need unique kind of needs like that, where local agencies love to throw you curveballs, Gusto can be there for you.
Yeah, Will, you kind of mentioned about that you guys are innovative and kind of fast-paced moving organization. Maybe you could give a couple examples of some new features that you launched, and then also I'd love to hear about what your organization is doing or looking at regarding AI. I can't talk to anybody without hearing about AI.
What's AI? No, I'm just kidding. I wish people could raise their hand and see if they were kind of dabbled with AI to date. But yeah, I mean, look, Gusto loves to launch regularly a whole host of new features designed to help both SMBs and growing SMBs and accounting professionals like BGM, and how Gusto thinks about designing these new features. Well, lately we have two things that we've done, and I'll start with AI first, since that seems to always be the hot topic. But in the world of accounting and tech, AI is everywhere, especially in the lives of small businesses when you're using like Gmail, for example. But so much of AI is about hype and not help. At Gusto, we really incorporated AI into our platforms that's beautifully designed and useful. So, for example, we've also brought in some great talent to help around this. Jeremy Walland, who's our chief data officer. He previously held some global leadership roles in data science and analytics at Google and PayPal. And his focus is to really leverage AI. So, what we've done is three things. One is prevent tax notices using AI. And this is behind the scenes. So when you're using Gusto and you're trying to resolve tax notices that you're getting from agencies or the federal government, you think, what do I do with this thing, right? You hand it to Gusto, you think a bunch of people behind the scenes are just like muscling things, and that is the case, but we've created a lot of tooling behind the scenes. So we've built functions within Gusto that will run in the background, and you don't even have to think about them as a customer. That'll help you get all that done. So for example, if you're late running payroll, we'll help you do things like, one, capture notices kind of triggered by a late payroll. We'll do things like, two, resolve them on behalf of you, the customer, giving you kind of more peace of mind. Or if you're, let's say, hiring a remote employee in another state, our system will recognize the business connection to that new state and prompt your employee to complete any necessary registration forms, ensuring that your company is connected to the proper tax authority and avoids tax notices. So those are like some examples that you think, wow, I would have never have thought that behind the scenes, that we're helping and kind of leveraging AI within the tool. We even have things like job descriptions. Who's created a job description and taken hours to create a job description? Gusto now has AI where you fill out a couple details, you click generate, and it'll generate a job description for you for that role. And it'll actually include the language within the job description to ensure that you're compliant in the state in which you're trying to hire that employee. So, for example, in Florida, where I'm from, all you need to do is disclose just like the salary of that job. But in California, it's a range. So it could be 150 to 200, and that's the law in California. Gusto will know that and ensure that your job description has all those compliance features. And so those are some really cool stuff. International hiring is really big at Gusto. So as I mentioned at the kind of the top of the webinar, there's a lot of hiring issues, a lot of hiring talent. So we've built some Gusto Global as a solution to help small businesses hire internationally. So reach untapped pools internationally, go beyond the US, things of that sort.
Yeah, Brian, I don't know if you had any experience or heard regarding some of these new features.
I have not, we
Or,
typically
okay.
are working on the payroll side. We see HR as more of an ancillary thing. But Gusto has the capability to do that if a client chooses to take them up on it.
Yeah, You just make me think of one of the big things dealing with payroll companies, and I'm thinking one in particular client experiences. We're trying to get something done and just trying to get to that right person to make that pull that one lever or push the button or something was extremely time consuming, and it took a lot. So maybe Will, how are you guys set up to make sure that you're serving your clients in a timely manner and helping them move forward?
Yeah, that's a great question. In fact, I wouldn't, if you don't mind, I'd love to share my screen for just one moment because there is one slide I wanted to just point out to everybody. And we're so proud of this. Gusto, when you think about solutions and technology, you think, okay, I need the technology to work, but I also want to have great customer service. And at Gusto, we couldn't be more proud. G2 actually ranked us as number one in all small business payroll satisfaction and HR implementation. So, beyond ADP, beyond Rippling, beyond a lot, the plethora of options we all have, I think, to really, make sure that we're being taken care of, not only both on a technological side, but on a service side. So, Gusso's approach to service is pretty simple. We have a lot of options for support. We have help centers baked into our products and solutions that are available 24/7. We have content resources that you can access. We have informative articles for the most common questions and FAQs. We've even expanded our support hours for our support team if you're looking for expanded hours. So like callbacks, for example, callback hours are from 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. PT, Monday through Friday. Chat hours are the same thing, 5 p.m. to 5 p.m. PT. Email, you can email us anytime. And so within even Gusto, the solution, you can keep track of your support tickets and see where do they stand? What's the progress? It's almost like the Domino's pizza tracker. Who loves that? I love that feature, but it's kind of like, where is it baked in the queue? Where are we with this support? And so we've done an incredible job kind of tooling ourselves up to meet all our customers' needs, whether they need to chat with us, email us, call us, and ensure that we actually have hours available for them from the West Coast all the way to the East Coast.
That's great.
Yeah,
Yep,
just
I
just
think,
to add on to
well,
that, I think we look at it a little differently. I think why, we get questioned a lot, why can't we just go direct to these software companies? And you certainly can, small businesses can. Why we've invested in Gusto is there's a missing component from the software company and the end user. Not that they don't provide the support, I'm just talking in general, right? They do the support, they take care of it, any issue, but the design, like when you're building, how to implement, it's like building a house, right? You have to have an architect. And that's really what we think our role is when we implement technology solutions for our clients, is there's a gap of architecting the right solution in the design work. That means going back to those integration, making sure that those things are set up properly and designed properly based on how the company wants to look at their payroll data, and facilitating what would be the most beneficial way of looking at some of this information and asking those questions. I really try to say design. I'm not sure if that's the perfect word, but there's this element of design anytime you implement that a lot of people just implement and they skip the design piece to an implementation plan. So that's a key thing. And by no means can anybody figure it out over a period of time. We just have done it a lot, so we can get there a lot quicker. So we know what the capabilities are instead of knowing, tell me what I don't know. Well, then there's this plethora of information you can go digest, or, we already seen all that, and this is how we think it works the best. So that's kind of our value add partnership in this with Gusto, leading both on the outsourcing, accounting, and providing the payroll solution to clients in an efficient, effective manner.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Brian. I mean, as a former accountant myself, I ran a practice for 9 years. We served small businesses all across the US, even internationally. Business is complicated. And what's kind of beautiful nowadays is when you think of an accountant 20 years ago, you think, oh, they were only capable of, let's say, crunching numbers and doing this and doing that. Now we're in a place where, like BGM, where we can look at your scenario, look at your business goals. What's your mission as a company? What vision are you trying to cast over the next 3 to 5 years? And let's design a holistic approach to achieving those goals. It's both numerical, it's both technological, it's both it includes service. And that's kind of the beauty of kind of modern accounting nowadays. And that's where BGM plays, which is why we're so excited to partner with BGM, is because businesses need more than just number crunching. They really do need guidance. And especially in today's environment and in economy, accountants were, you know, saviors during COVID and continue to be and were before. And so that's very exciting. So having an accountant on your side is an incredible thing. And in fact, if you have one on your side, statistically, your business lasts 36 to 48 months longer. Your business could actually thrive a lot longer than having one without, an accountant.
Thanks for that.
Yeah, so you kind of you both kind of touched on this, but Will, how do your services integrate with existing business systems and processes?
Oh, that's an excellent question. So, Gusto, like I said, is a technological platform. I like to describe us as both tech and touch. We have that incredible solution for you. We have incredible service and partnership with BGM for you. And then we have a whole host of companies that we've integrated with. So what's great is a lot of the fundamentals of running a business, we integrate with Xero and QuickBooks and Sage Intacct and Cloud. And so a lot of that general ledger transaction is seamless, and BGM can break it down, analyze it, so on and so forth. What's also good about our integrations, like I said, business is more than just running payroll. It's also about taking care of a team, becoming a great employer. We have integrations to 401k providers, to benefit brokers, to team management tools like 15Five or Greenhouse, to onboarding and hiring new team members. And so you could actually visit gusto.com, look at our resources and look at our integrations and see all the categories of help that we support small businesses above and beyond our core solution. And they cascade a variety of categories, which is really exciting because running a business is more than numbers. It also includes people, and everything in between has been pretty incredible when you look at those solutions. I actually pulled it up right now. So we go from, expense management solutions we integrate with hiring and onboarding, kind of insights and analytics to your team and to your company, legal and compliance, learning management solutions, rewards and recognition. We all know we need that in order to retain talent. So above the general ledger, we have a whole suite of integrations that can help you make the most of your company and make the most of your team.
Yeah, one thing to just add on that, we use a tool called Giraffe for our forecasting for clients, and Gusto integrates the HR and the listing of employees, salaries. So it's fully integrated. So you don't have to re-enter that data. And then with Giraffe, it's J-I-R-A-V, if you're not familiar with that particular software tool, has ability to really, from that point forward, really forecast your cost of payroll very easily. So again, most small businesses, one of the biggest expenses is payroll. So you get some efficiency in managing that, managing the buckets, building out some trend analysis, and ultimately perform better as a business. Ultimately, that's why you do all this stuff.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And like the integration with Giraffe, if you're thinking about hiring and or let's say growing your own company, but you need team members to do it, right? BGM can do a lot of that forecasting of where's your business performing to date? Here's the forecast into the solution. What are the people costs? What can we afford? How many employees should we hire? Maybe it's 2, maybe it's 3. What's the financial impact of all of that? And so, Gusto does provide that whole suite solution of how to grow a team into the future, and then also how to take care of a team right now and in the future.
Yeah. No, that's great. And I love the giraffe tool in regards of Brian's team is validating the historical numbers, but really creating the conversation with the client about whether it's the next month or quarter or the balance of the year. Are we on track, off track? And as Brian mentioned, I mean, payroll is one of the largest expenses, and trying to manage that that plays a key role on cash flow, cash management. And so, well, one of the things I want to mention to everyone that's listening is you're hearing BGM. Or Brian and his team went through a process to identify who we thought was a good partner in the payroll area. And you're hearing Gusto. This really isn't an advertisement for Gusto. It's more hearing some of the features and things that you should be looking at when you're dealing with your payroll and HR, and how there's technology solutions. And that's one of the things that Brian's group is always looking for, is a technology solution to really free up your talent on your team, whether it's an office manager or controller or bookkeeper, because they're normally doing so many things. And so when we talk about being a partner, it's not a financial relationship at all on our side. What our agreement with Gusto is that instead of paying us a referral fee, there's a reduction in the fee with Gusto by being a Gusto client and being part of the BGM group. So with that, I guess, Will, you kind of touched on it a little bit. You just talked about there's three types of plans. Maybe you could kind of just talk about what those look like.
Yeah, happy to. So a lot of our plans, like I said, serve uh, businesses of all sizes. And depending on what you're looking for, Gusto can provide a whole host of solutions. If we're looking for plans, I'm happy to share my screen here and just kind of peruse that plan. Would that be all right?
It'd be great.
Okay, cool. Let's do that. So obviously you can visit gusto.com in order to see what we have here. But what I personally love, especially as an accountant and somebody who's served businesses of all sizes, the transparency of our pricing. The price is the price, right? So, but if you go to like ADP or any of our competitors, the price is not the price. There's a lot of hidden fees. And so for Gusto, the price is the price, and it includes everything that we've been talking about here today, minus BGM's incredible service. But the price includes all that you would need to support your company. So you can go from a small plan or a small plan, like I said, ensuring that you're getting all that full support and that employee profiles, and they have access to that on their phones, and they can get their W-2s and paychecks seamlessly, reporting and custom admin permissions. And like I said, integrations to the accounting ledger or time tracking or expense management, a lot more. As your team continues to grow, if you go across state lines, Gusto has plans for that. Obviously, once your team starts growing, they're going to ask, like, do I get PTO? Am I going to take time off? Like, what's the plan here? And so Gusto can support that, as you continue to grow. If you have physical locations like a restaurant, something like that, you'll get access to our time kiosk, which you can clock in and out employees right there, right on the spot. So you can see a lot more as you continue to grow a complex team, and a lot more around the HR and benefit side starts to unlock for yourself as you continue to grow your team. And then once you're up there and you feel like, I need a lot more support than just what I'm currently getting, then our premium plan unlocks a tremendous amount more around the HR arena. You'll get access to these SHRMs that are certified HR provider experts on our side, which SHRM is the license to get if you're an HR professional, health insurance broker integrations, even R&D tax credits. So if you're a company that is creating things and doing a lot of research and development, you could potentially qualify for an R&D tax credit. And so those are things that you can do here as well. So anyways, our plans, the way I think about it is you start out or as you're growing, or if you have a large enough team where you feel like you need more support than what you're currently getting, Gusto has a plan along the way for you, and everything's included in the price.
Yeah,
And
just
I would just
oh,
add
go
on
ahead.
too, like from our firm perspective, we like to keep that independence. So we really, when we recommend a solution, we liking what we're seeing, how it utilizes. It's very practical, right? I'll go back to ease of use is key for us. Integration, again, it doesn't count unless it works.
Right.
It doesn't count unless it's reported on timely. Maybe the best solution out there, but if you can't get it into the core accounting system timely with less effort, in my estimation, it doesn't count. And then you want a company that's going to be there in the future. So you want an innovative company. If you look at our technology stack with all the different things that we handle through the accounting cycles, this is obviously is just payroll. We kind of take that same approach. Those are the pillars where we utilize to evaluate the software that's out there in the industry that we could deploy, but we keep that independence. So the discount that typically software companies pay partners, we try to get that passed on to the client. And I think with Gusto that is the case on that pricing. Is it not, Will?
Yes. Yeah, correct. I mean, having a provider who's able to help and guide and advise you through your business finances and people management is huge. And, at Gusto, I know we believe firms and forward-thinking firms like BGM have a huge role to play here. And so, what's great is our partnership really unlocks two major areas. One, that financial and business guidance that you're looking for. And then secondly is, the team that's going to be required to pull all that off, which is a lot of where Gusto dabbles into, and ensure that the two of us and both of our companies kind of align on that front and kind of cover your business holistically.
Yeah, I remember getting a call. It was sometime last year. I had a client that was switching to a different payroll provider, and again, they have to make a business decision. We'll support as they're going through that process. But it was interesting. The controller called me up and said, I selected a Trojan horse, Corey. I'm like, Colleen, what are you talking about? A Trojan horse? Oh, they came in. It was a great price, and it was going to be just a perfect fit. And then all of a sudden, all these other bolt-on pieces were being like, yeah, I got to do this, and if I want this, I got to. It was like a Trojan horse. They snuck in, and next thing is they're just trying to add on left, right, and it was like, wow, why didn't we have this conversation up front? So again, a big part for us is our client experience, and are they being distracted by the payroll side? Are they not getting the support for the human resource side? And the more you're distracted by that, the less that you have time to run your business.
Yeah, and as a former small business owner myself, I know owning a business is not for the faint of heart. Business is hard enough, so you don't need more, disjointed parts in your life in order to run your business. But yeah.
Mhm. Okay. Well, we're nearing the end. I don't. Were there any other questions? Those were kind of mine that I just had. Just thinking about the payroll, human resource side as being CEO, and then working with my clients, as well as Brian and his team working with clients. But Brian or Will, do you have any other particular subjects that I might not have touched on, or any stories that you'd love to share?
You feel like kicking us off, Brian?
I don't actually. I'm just trying to think. I go back to kind of some of the themes of what I just discussed, and HR is a very important function to small businesses, and it should be when you're going through the business planning process, and we do that for clients. We help facilitate business planning, playing that fractional CFO role if needed with a client. One of the things that I always bring up is how are you continuing to build that learning culture, building goals within that. It's here's where we're at today. Here's some things that we can think about for goals for that pillar, so to speak. That comes to mind. And as far as the payroll, like I said on the initial part of this presentation, there's nobody out there that loves payroll. You have to deal with
Except
it.
Gusto.
Well, the businesses that are in it, but small businesses, obviously, just right. So I look at that as we'll get the right solution and make the pain as less as you can, and then use it to your advantage on the back end in terms of managing the business and the performance of the business. So those are the things that come to mind but nothing additional, Corey. I don't know if you had anything additional, Will.
Well, I was going to say, we actually have a question in the Q&A from somebody anonymous, which is absolutely fine. But they said, do you serve the cannabis industry, and how does your firm and service support cannabis operators?
And just before you answer that, Will, I don't know if people are familiar, but we work with over 600 cannabis operators throughout the U.S. And we're very excited about your answer. Because we've had clients that get on a platform, and at some point they get kicked off, and there's no worse thing than the disruption of being kicked off a payroll human resource platform.
Yeah.
So
To answer the question, both BGM and Gusto supports the cannabis industry. So we have smart and specialized cannabis payroll solutions for the industry. That you can tailor to yourself. We want to meet the suite of needs that are with CRBs and kind of pack our solution with the features that can really elevate your team and level up your company. And we've had years of experience around this, which is great. So yes, we can provide the cannabis industry payroll processing, streamline it, native solutions, integrations, guidance and support through every twist and turn. And then, a payroll platform that's almost kind of recreational, you'll enjoy your way through. But yeah, what's also pretty cool at Gusto is we have access to exclusive premium plan pricing for CRBs. So, we're committed to supporting CRBs by offering those specialized services. And I know that due to the added regulatory scrutiny that comes with supporting CRBs, we require all CRBs to be on our premium plan. So that way you get the most out of Gusto, and you get access to everything that you would need in order to support your cannabis company. So,
okay, I'm sorry, CRB.
Cannabis related. Were you asking CRBs? Cannabis related businesses.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. I guess to be honest, I've never heard that term before. So I've learned at least one thing new today.
Just one, Corey? Normally it's
early. It's early. It's really early. And yeah, no, I do appreciate both Brian and Will, you guys taking out time out of your day, and for those individuals that were able to make the webinar. Again, just hopefully you walked away with some nuggets or just some questions, and making sure again that you have the right partner. And again, I have some clients that they try to do a payroll internally, and I'm like, did you go into business to be a payroll processor? And that's really, you don't make money do it. And in fact, it's probably more dangerous than not picking the right partner. So again, hopefully you've walked away with some thoughts and questions. If you have any further questions, definitely reach out to Brian or Will, and they can help you address and answer those questions. So any other closing remarks, Will, Brian?
I don't think so. I appreciate you facilitating this, Corey. Appreciate you, Will, joining us.
Absolutely. We may have our contact information. I don't know if we could share that slide on your end, so that way folks can have some details to get a hold of us here. But yeah, there's our contact information. You can reach out to us like Corey mentioned, and we'll make sure to take care of you despite what industry you're in.
Yeah, and I think we're gonna send out a thank you email to everyone with our contact information, so it'll be there as well. Again, thank you for taking time out of your day to listen to this. Hopefully you got something of a value, and have a great rest of your week. And Will and Brian, thank you again,
Thanks
and
for
we'll
having me on.
talk soon.
Yeah, yep,
Take care.
thank you.